Alright, so I'm done with my first wing. I'm just going to give a few thoughts about it. It took a long time to build, way longer than I ever anticipated. A lot of procrastinating and different legitimate things I had to wait on, like to paint the brackets, for example, which had to be done. Well, parts of these brackets are going to be showing, poking through the fabric, so I wanted to use the final color. So I needed a paint gun and some other equipment, so I had to get that. That delayed things a little bit. Had some problems with the wires, got the wrong material, had to make those twice. And just other things, like I said, besides procrastinating. So it took a long time, took months. Hopefully the other wings will go a lot quicker. I won't have any excuses anyway because I got the brackets painted. I think I've got all the materials that I need. Of course the ribs are done. So anyway, I don't really have a good excuse for any of the other wings taking anywhere near that long. The wingtip, actually it looks maybe kind of terrible, but it's really nice and smooth. I love the curves on it. It just turned out really beautiful. I'm happy with it. I think it'll look really good once the plane's covered. This is some fiberglass and epoxy, and then the white is just some epoxy filler. I talk about that in a little more detail. Actually, I blogged about all of this in quite a lot of detail over the past several weeks. There's a number of blog posts on it, so go there for lots of specifics and lots of photos. The next wing build, I'm going to do just video on it. So I'll talk about the leading edge in a minute. There's potentially a big problem with it, and I may redo it. The trailing edge, where it joins the rear of the wingtip bow, and then there's a quarter aluminum tube here bent to a quarter circle that forms the cutout in the center rear of the upper wing. On both ends of that I also used fiberglass just for reinforcing, and on this end of the trailing edge where it joins with the wingtip bow, reinforced that with fiberglass. Anyway, overall I'm real happy with it. I don't know if I ever commented on this. There's an extra little stick here that extra quarter by quarter spruce that I epoxied in here. There was a tiny little split in one of these pieces, so I just reinforced it with that. The corner blocks I epoxied and then just used a pin nailer that it's around here somewhere, borrowed from my neighbor, and that was a super easy way to get these corner blocks in place. And I plan on doing that for the other three wings as well. I thought that worked great. I guess really the main other point I want to make is something about the leading edge. Let me grab the camera and I'll give you a closer up and explain what I'm talking about, or what the issue is. So I used just these simple straps. They don't have a lever or anything. You basically just pull the strap through there, and I'm able to pull them plenty tight without any added leverage beyond just tugging on the strap. And those came up right over the top of each rib, and I had one at every single rib to hold the leading edge as tightly as possible against the ribs so it would fit snugly on here. And it's solid down on this spruce piece of spruce right here that runs all along here. It's nice and tight there. And this is the top of the wing, and the aluminum leading edge is nice and tight against that as well. And there's more of a curve on the upper surface, so I think that helped in pulling this tight, because it was pulled down tight here and here, and due to the greater curve of the rib, the aluminum is going to tend to lie flat there. The lower side of the wing, the underside, is flatter, has less curve to it. So there's not going to be as great a likelihood that this metal will tend to lie flat on the rib because you don't have the curve underneath pushing out into the metal, if that makes sense. So here's the problem. And you can see this one moves a little less, maybe 1/8 of an inch. This is a little more. I don't know if that's 1/4 inch, maybe less than that. Same. So that's the problem. I don't know if this is going to be a big deal in flight, if it'll make any difference at all. Another guy told me that due to expansion and contraction of materials, this metal would pull away from the rib anyway. I gotta admit, I'm a little concerned about it. And maybe for no reason. I don't know if that would set up any kind of a vibration. If the air is flowing over it just so. But it's a concern. For now, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to call it done for now. I'm going to put the wing upstairs in the spare bedroom. And start on the next wing. My idea from here on out, take 3/4 inch plywood, cut it about this high, about from here up to here, so that's maybe 14 inches in this dimension, maybe 8 inches in this dimension. So I'll have an 8 by 14-ish square, and I'll have one of those for every single rib. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I will notch it so that the nose rib fits perfectly into it. So I can lay a piece of aluminum leading edge over the wing once it's assembled and push that down over it, and it'll pull the aluminum tight to the rib. And then I'll put a strap over that just to make sure that this is down tight against that spruce strip. I'm going to put one of those in every single rib, put a strap around every one, pull it down tight. So this aluminum then should be perfectly tight down against each rib. That won't be there. So these nails, once they're pulled in, there'll be greater tension on this aluminum, and hopefully that'll pull it tight. A buddy of mine suggested we take this part of the metal and put this kind of a curve in it, so that it presses into the wood. It's not a bad idea. We'll see about that, but I'm going to try this on the next wing. So if the next 3 wings turn out perfectly with this material tight, so I know that I'm able to do it, what I'll do is tear this leading edge off, the wingtip leading edge as well, and redo it. It'd be a lot of work, but probably a little quicker than this one, because I'll have more experience by then. So that's the main point. One other minor thing, well, minor compared to that. This material is supposed to come out maybe 1 inch past the last rib. And then you take maybe 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. Then you take a strip of aluminum, maybe 1 1/4 inch wide or so, 1.5 inch wide, and it would go under that material. And then the wingtip leading edges here would go on top of it here. So this material and this would be perfectly flush, and that strip goes underneath, and you run rivets down it. And I did the same thing here. But this wasn't long enough, so that joint falls right on top of the rib, so the material on the wing sticks out a little bit, since that extra layer is lying on top of this rib. So if this is a plane, it should be a plane all the way out here, and then it should just get thinner as it goes to the tip. And that piece of material would be here, not on top of the rib, if that makes sense. So it shouldn't be thicker at this point like it is on this wing. So I need to make it longer, put that strip outboard of the final rib. So even though this one's goofed up, it still turned out pretty good. That's something I'll get right on the other 3 wings, and if I end up tearing all this apart and redoing it, that'll be fixed as well. So that's the first wing. Overall pretty good. I learned a lot and got some different techniques down did my first ever work with fiberglass and composites. Figure out just some different techniques for doing things. So next wings hopefully will go quicker and turn out better, and we'll see about revisiting this leading edge probably in a couple months when all 3 other wings are done. So keep checking on the YouTube channel. I'll be doing videos for subsequent wing builds, and the blog will be on hold for now. If you haven't checked out the blog, it is buildingthesuperbabygreatLakes.blogspot.com. Go check out all the posts that I've been putting up there and photos during the completion of this wing build. Talk to you later.